All right, let's rock and roll. Let's get going. It is Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. A little bit of a rebound day. It's turnaround Tuesday. Typically, we see that after a pretty big Monday sell-off. So, held true to its name here today. So, your accounts should be nice today. Mine are up pretty substantially. So, good day today. Lots of stuff to go through. Let's dive in. If you guys have some questions, anything you want me to cover, pop it in chat. I open the chat to everybody here. So until you do something that makes me stop that, pop it in chat. You can ask questions. We're just going to look at a couple charts, come up with some trade ideas, and then I'm going to put a couple trades on today. So I want to get some trades on. I don't have enough strangles, in my opinion. And let's take a quick look at that. So I'm going to change a few things here. And let me actually share instead of this, share the trade tracker. All right. So let's just jump into the trade tracker for a minute and we'll take a look at how things are going for the day. A few more people popping in. Welcome, everybody. All right. So I'm not going to update the whole trade tracker here today. It's just the morning. We do our normal stuff. I'm not even going to update any of these numbers for right now, but suffice to say, we're up. So actually, we're about 393,990. So, and BP usage 229. Okay, just double checking that that's right because it's tasty trade. So we got a 50% chance that that number's right. It's actually not right. It's 220. I knew it. 098. Uh, and I'm only doing that because I want to know how much I got to play with and where I'm standing right now. So I didn't update Delta, Theta, none of that. I did update some training last night. So I keep telling you, I got training coming out and there's a lot of it. It's a massive quantity of training stuff that's coming out. But one of the things I was working on was doing a little bit of the management by the Greeks. And we still are in good shape on our Greeks here. It's early in the day, so I'm not really too worried about any of these pieces. What I'm really looking at right now is because I don't think we're out of control. We're somewhere around that 0.2% max delta, which is totally fine. We're pretty delta neutral here. Theta is a little low, but we do have some long trades in this account right now. So that is mucking up theta a bit, but that's okay. Uh, I'm not too worried about it. So my theta is a little lower, but I'm still kind of where I want to be generating trades. We're up 393,990 a few minutes ago. That is a new high in the account for the year. And then BP usage sitting at 220,098. Let me pop chat in here in case there's something comes up in chat. All right, so I'm sitting at 53% buying power. I have a couple extra trades on right now, so I like where I am. I don't have a ton of Vega either. So my Vega's in decent shape. It could be a little lower. I will talk more about the Greeks as we go, but I'd like to get one or two trades on. And the reason I just wanted to start here with you is Strategy Builder is my guide to what I'm doing. And I want to make sure if you use this process, it's fine. If you don't, totally fine. You do what you want to do on your own. But the Strategy Builder is essentially my trade plan in a graphical format here. No, it doesn't have all the rules and everything else that I go through that's in the trade plan, but it does tell me what strategies I have on, where my BP allocation should be, what sizing should be, what have you. And I'm just going to review it quickly, then we'll get into charts, and then we'll trade, but I think it all makes sense. All right, so SPY leaps, I allocate 40% of my account towards SPY leaps. Right now, SPY is chewing up a lot less than that. but I'm not at a full capacity. So SPY leaps would be 40% if full, which would be 10 tranches. Right now, I'm sitting on 5 tranches, so I'm half the size of where I want to be. So let's take a quick look. That means beat my BP allocation. And again, I updated it just this morning, just a few minutes ago, so we can see where we are. I'm willing to allocate up to about $86,000, give or take, 90 grand, something like that, towards the Spy Leaps campaign. Right now, I'm using $43,000 and I have 5 trades on. I will go 10 max. So this 40% is if I have all 10 trades on. I'm at 43. My portfolio allocation is 86. I am exactly perfect for where I need to be. So 5 trades, half of the positions on using 43 grand out of the 86. I mean, I can't even, I can't be better than that. So I am uh, right on the money. I can put on 20 of these per month. I put on one every week or one tranche every week. I will use up to 20 trades based upon my buying power uh, that it takes per tranche. I can put up to 20 units on a month or 20 contracts since I put these on every Monday. That's 4 times a month. I can put on 5. So that's why my size is 5 contracts. That's exactly what I use. So we are exactly fine with where we want to be in here right now on Spy Leaps. Now, right now, it's only using 20% of my account. I will go up to 40% of it. Okay, so these are maxes for me. Let's take a look at the ES112s. Typically, I can put on per month about 5 to 6 um, naked puts here. So if I'm doing these every 2 weeks, boy, a lot of people keep piling in. If I'm doing these every 2 weeks, that means roughly 3 naked puts or so is my sizing on the naked put size. Uh, and I'm a little bit over that right now. Let's see. My typical size, I know you can't see my account, but I can, so give me a second. And I just want to make sure, but my naked puts right now, I'm using roughly 4 contracts. So I'm a little bit higher than my 5 or 6 here, but I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. I'm not using anywhere near this amount of buying power right now. So the typical buying power on these is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 per tranche. I've got 3 tranches on, so I'm using $60,000, give or take, for these 3 tranches of 112 or 111 or whatever you're doing, C trades. So the calendarized version of these. I'm using 60 grand. I've allocated up to almost 86, almost to 90 grand. So I feel I'm pretty good shape there. It's not time to put these on. I put them on every 2 weeks, and it's only been a week uh, since I put them on. So next Monday, I will add another 112C trade on, and then hopefully by then something comes off. I'm at 78 and 71% on the 2 oldest ones. So it's very possible those will come off. If not, I will have up to 4 tranches at one time. And I should land exactly in my buying power allocation when I'm maxed out. All right, but I wanted to put this on for a couple things today, and then Strangles. So I'm perfectly fine with leaps. I have the right amount. I have the perfect amount of 112C trades on. I'm totally fine there. Now, if we look at Strangles, I'm willing to allocate $22,000 for Strangles. I'm Because I use different underlyings, I'm not really using the units per month so much. On average, this is kind of an average of what they look like. But if I can, I'd like to keep about $22,000 worth of Strangles, at least almost at a minimum, on here. And if I look at my trades and I look at my Strangles, I've only got 2 trades using about $21,000 on the initial. So I'm right there at my minimum. If these 2 come off at 50% winners, um, and we could take a look at those. And one of these is on ZB. That thing is at only 6%. It's only been 13 days. So that's nowhere near coming off on ZB. And the other one is on oil. And the oil strangle is at 30%. uh, in 14 days, which is pretty good, but it's not ready to come off yet. But I'd like to get something else on. So again, when I look at my strategy builder, I'm where I should be on my core trades, which are these two in blue. These got to be on at all times, for at least for me, okay, to generate the income I want. And then the rest of these are, let's add them if we can. And spec trades, we've got uh, plenty on uh, right now. So I've got a good amount of spec trades going in here. Not only do I have all of these spec trades up top here going on, I have a few other additional trades in this account. So I feel like I'm more than stuffed, but my buying power is only at 50%. So I think I have room to add a strangle. The question is, where do I want to go? So I would like to generate about 4 grand a month worth of P&L for strangles. But if I've only got two on and they're on for about $2,200 in credit, if they come off at 50%, that's going to be like $2,200 in gains. But I really am shooting for, if I can, close to 4,000 after, depending on whether you win or lose, uh, 90%, stopping at the things. The net on these, I should average about 3,200. So I closed one already. So if you look at February, you can see we already closed this. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. We closed one strangle already for $1,000. Okay, so we're already a third of the way there to hitting our strangle goal for the month. But I'd like to get a new strangle on. Anyway, I thought I would just share this just to get so you go through my thinking process of, do I have BP? I'm close. I'm 50% ish. Uh, I feel like I could probably put another trade on without adding too much to that. Um, I'm willing to, and according to my strategy builder, I'm already set on my two core positions, which are the blue ones. So strangles or spec trades are things that I can add to it. I feel like I've got plenty of spec trades on. I'd like to get a strangle on because I already closed one. So I'd like to replace the one that I took off. All right. So I hope this makes sense for you. Uh, Overall, we're having a good year so far. It's super early, so anything can happen. We know that from last year where we were rocking and rolling into August and then gave a bunch back, and then we rocked to the end of the year. But we are up 7% on the year so far, up about 25 grand in this account for the year after 1 month. So let's get into some trades. Sorry, hopefully this was helpful to you, but for me, before I can place trades, I want to see if I'm able to place trades. All right, so let me unshare my video. And let's look at this thing. All right, so what do we got? We got ES here. Nice rebound today for the most part. Off of the highs fractionally here, but it's turnaround Tuesday, so the markets are moving up on ES. I'd like to get a strangle if I can, because I like to diversify by strategies as well as days to expiration, as well as underlyings. So I really like to focus on my core four, which is ES, CL, GC, and ZB. But I can go outside of that, but I want to look at those uh, a bit here. So ES, it is kind of strangle worthy in here. You're sitting right at the 21-day moving average on both the weekly and the daily. It's been in this long consolidation for quite some time. I still think we can drop more. I think yesterday was an overreaction. I think today is just getting us back to where we should be. But I still think we could potentially fall from here. I don't love it up in here, but it's not bad. We're not at overbought by any stretch. Okay? We're just consolidating. We could go any direction. So I would not be opposed to an ES strangle here or any other type of an ES trade. The only reason I'm going to shy away from ES is when I look at my spec trades, I have a 111 and at the money 111. In fact, I have three of them on, two in ES and one in NASDAQ. So I feel CW now, the first person I think that's getting where I was saying strangle worthy from. So little Seinfeld-ish reference. So Anyway, let's keep rocking. But I have two ES 111s on that are at the money. So I don't really want to add a strangle on top of those because that's adding to me, it's adding too much risk. Somebody was mentioning it yesterday doing, these leaps or Igors Monday, Wednesday, Friday SPY trades, using any of these SPY trades or SPX trades in ES. And the reason I avoid those is because I don't want to overexpose myself to ES and too many naked puts of quantity on at once. Now, obviously, if you're not doing those trades, then potentially that would be an option for you. But I've already got too many ES trades on. So even though I believe ES is a strangle here, I also really like the 111 ATM trades, but I already have two of those on in ES, so I don't want to add anything more. But those are starting to, and I have one Jade Lizard in ES as well. So there's a Jade Lizard in ES. That thing's up 60% right now, and I really like that trade. So technically, there's three trades in ES that I don't want to add more ES than I already have. All right, so let's move on to oil, but it doesn't mean you can't. So if you're not overloaded in it, I think ES is strangle-worthy. I also think a 111 at the money is a great option here as a spec trade. All right, let's look at oil. Oil, just been selling off for 3 straight weeks here. Inverted hammer 4 weeks ago here on the weekly, so you can see that. And from there, everything just started to roll over. MACD rolled over. RSI has been dropping. So we've been in a bearish trend, but we're really only down to the 21 EMA, which is actually pretty nice. If we look at the daily here, we had sold off a lot more earlier. It's rebounded a fraction. Oil's flat on the day, essentially. Kind of a doji candle here. Could be an interesting spot for a reversal. Stochastic momentum is oversold, maybe curling up. MACD starting to curl up as well on the histogram here. Hasn't broken through the zero line, but it is curling and reversing. And then the RSI, it's been really pretty flat. So it's heading a little lower here on the daily, but not much. I think if you're trading oil, I think a strangle is a possibility. I don't love it with the move lower. I think we can go lower, but I think uh, you could look at some trades that kind of limit your downside risk a bit, but it's not a bad strangle. In the Discord earlier, um, I did say um, doesn't look great, but it does set up for a nice ATM 111 or a Jade Lizard. Or potentially even a strangle here. I think it can fall more. I think it could get a little bit of a bounce, but I don't think it's much. So I think any of these trades are good options on oil. I just think you need to protect your downside a bit. I think we continue to drift sideways to lower, and I don't see many catalysts for really spiking oil up, except for some sort of an event. Gold continuing to rocket higher. To me, it's just not tradable here. It's just moving higher. I don't want to put on any kind of a strangle or anything else that has risk to the upside. I think butterflies, broken wing butterflies, things like that on gold are not bad plays. We do have a Jade Lizard on it. I'm concerned about this Jade Lizard getting out of the trap a bit, but I think we're fine. We're at 50% on this trade. Maybe we'll take it off. Um, But yeah, oil, very, time merchant 100%, pretty big range. This morning, I would have said don't strangle this thing at all because I think, could have more downside. But if you look at where we are, we bounced exactly off on the daily here. We bounced right off this green line, which is the Bollinger Band. So we came down, touched the lower end of the Bollinger Band. I think that's not bad. So the weekly, it's got a bullish PSAR and a pretty decent looking reversal candle potentially. And the daily is bearish, okay, but bouncing off the lower end of, here, the Bollinger Band. I don't know. I think there's a little yin and yang going on here. This thing really has been in a range going back quite a ways. I think if you go all the way back to July of last year, you've really been in a range from essentially maybe 78 down to 66. So 78 to 66 is the range that we've been in now. So if you're writing Strangles in that range, and right now you're dead in the middle of that range at 72. Okay. So that's not bad. 78 to 66, that's really like a 12-point range, and 72 is the dead center, and we're dead in the middle of the range. And so I like that uh, potential here. Anything can happen, and then we saw that if tariffs go in, maybe oil prices drift up a bit because we import oil from Canada. But right now, that looks to be off the table for the short-term time being, unless Canada doesn't do whatever they said they were going to do. So I think you could possibly strangle in here. Gold, not touchable for me. I don't like anything in gold. It's just too strong. It's at the top of the Bollinger Band. It's overbought on weekly and daily. It doesn't mean it doesn't go higher, but I just don't see a trade on something that's this strong and this overbought right now. And I don't really want to short it here either and play the downside um, turnover potential. So it's up to you. I think if you wanted to do something like a Jade Lizard type of a setup or an at the money 111 on gold so that you have no risk to the upside and you potentially catch any trap on the pullback here, that would be fine. I'd like to see a little more pullback before I did that, but I think that's fine for you um, on this. All right, let's keep going here. I'm just checking chat, but it's you guys chatting, so we can look more at those. All right, ZB real quick. Uh, Here, I like it. I mean, you're bouncing, moving higher, moving sideways. I think this move was a little much, okay, but I really like that move. Certainly helps us quite a bit to see this moving higher. It's great. We're not really seeing the same gains on TLT that and TMF that we're seeing on ZB. They're not really following along in here. I'm going to have to do something with my trades in the Lazy Trader account at some point. But on the ZB trades here, what would you play in here? Well, I think you're pretty strangle worthy again. So I think ZB is another strangle setup. Have we see, are the lows over? They might be at 110. Okay. I'm not going to bet my entire paycheck on this thing or my account on it. Can we go lower? Sure. You're still in right now this bearish trend of lower lows and lower highs on the weekly, although we might be breaking out of it now, finally. We've broken this little brief uptrend that we've been in on this. There's some overhead resistance. I think we just drift sideways. I don't see a catalyst for bonds to really rock and roll unless the market starts to really sell off. So there you go. Um, I think a strangle here is good. And if you look back, we've traded between, on the weekly here, you've traded really between like 120 and 110, and we're sitting at 114 today, which is exactly in the middle. Strangle worthy to me. So I think there's three strangle trades to put on. Copper starting to wake up a bit. It was a bit of a strangle trade. I think it still kind of is, but I think there's better trades uh, out there. But this thing's heading back up towards this line in the middle of the Bollinger Band. It looks like it's starting to get some momentum, so I would probably stay away from this, even though maybe it would work. All right, and then for those of you that are playing the Forex Strangles, I think this is not a bad play in here. I think finally the Aussie dollar is an option for you. All right, so now that we've got a little bit of a game plan on some things that we can put on, I'm really looking to see, wow, what trades are on. I don't really want to put on any more spec trades. This is just me, but I've given you guys spec trade ideas here today. I want to get a strangle on. And now the question for me is, it's not going to be ES because I've already got too many things there. It's not going to be, and so it's oil and bonds. So oil and bonds, my two strangle options, with copper being like a third place uh, for me on it. So I don't know which one I'd like better. I kind of like oil, but let's go with bonds. Okay, not everyone's favorite. So if you want to do oil, I can set one up on oil here. But I also want, for me, I'm probably going to do bonds. I'd like to do both, to be honest with you, but let's see. All right, so let's kick this thing in here and let's take a look. So let's jump over to the account and let's do some trading. All right, okay, markets are up 0.71% today. Accounts are up pretty big today. So we're up three, four, $5,000 in each account, which is pretty nice today. What do we got in oil? So, and you can see in bonds here, I'm sitting on one reverse Jade Lizard, which is actually in pretty good shape. It's at 82%. It's almost time to take that thing off. I mean, 90% would probably be nice. I could let it go to 100%. It's only got 2 weeks to go, but do I want to, the max I can make on this is 1,000. I'm at 823 on this thing. I don't know. I could still make another 180 bucks technically in 2 weeks. If I need the buying power, I would consider closing this thing to put on a new trade because I could make more than 180 bucks on something. This strangle is 13 days old. So I think we could still add a new strangle, but let's see if we overlap. Uh, so we have 80 days, which is the one we have on already, and then we can also go out to 108. 90 is my favorite. Either one of these is good, but the 80 would probably be slightly better. Um, but am I going to duplicate my strikes? So this is a conundrum because I would probably be looking at roughly the 105, 126 strangle here, which is not bad. Paying 406 bucks using 1,400. That's a pretty good return. So if I make 400 bucks on 1444, that's a 27% return. We're going to take it off at 50% of that. So we can make 13% in something less than 3 months. I'm hoping like a month or so on this thing. But these strikes are really close to a trade that I already have on. So I really don't want to do that because I'm basically duplicating the risk from a current strangle trade that's pretty new. So the other thing I could do is I could go out to the 108 days, go a little bit longer, do something more like the 103. Wow, there's a lot of skew on this thing. 103, 108. So you can see that the call skew uh, on this is greater than the put skew. Got to get farther away um, on this thing. I don't mind this trade either. Pretty much the same return, another 450 bucks and roughly $1,400. So I like it. I think we can do this. And I've been sizing these a little smaller, my uh, than my trade max. So if you remember that this is well, as of this a few minutes ago, it's a $394,000 account now. Okay. If I wanted to max this thing out, I would want to put on a trade for, the max loss would be a $7,900 loss. Okay. I like to keep most of my trades pretty similar sizing, but I'm probably undersized a bit here. I mean, technically a Forex loss, I'd want to do something that if 7,800 is my max 2% loss, then half of that, Okay, should be like 3,900, which would be my initial credit of 3,900 because of 2x loss. Although I guess I do a 1.5x loss on these, so it's even higher. Okay, it'd be something around $5,000 because I stop at 1.5x. I'm going to size up. My other trades have been right around this $2,200 mark. We're going to start to size these up closer to 3,000. Okay, a $3,000 trade though for me at a 1.5x loss, which is my loss on Strangles, is a $4,500 loss. $4,500 on a $394,000 trade, okay, is not 2%. It's only a little over 1%. So I'm a little small, but I'm okay with that. I hope this is making sense from a sizing standpoint. So we're going to go a little longer than normal, 108. Okay. We've got decent IVR at 33 on this thing. All right. So I like this setup. Let's do this. And we never get filled right away anyway, but we'll try it. Okay. Now, so I got that working. Potentially that'll go in. Normally, I would also just check uh, my account. Stupid buying power. Okay. So I'm at roughly, well, right now we're even higher because we're up almost 4 grand on the day. Uh, so we're up a nice 10 grand in our accounts today. So we're at like 58% buying power minus bill, which is only about 3%. So 55. I think that's probably it. I can't really put another trade on. I want to be careful in here. So bill is using up, um, some of that buying power in here, $10,000, which is not a lot. All right. So let's look at oil, and I can't put another trade on. I guess I could take this ZB off and just book this thing. Yeah, let's get out of this. Well, I don't know if this is going to fill. Okay. Odds of a complex trade filling down in here. We'll see. I'm going to leave it on. Maybe it'll fill. Maybe it won't. Okay, let's keep going. Squeak, good. Let's jump into that. All right. So anything to take off here? Well, we got this. This trade's up 200% now. So nice 200% winner. I could make more on this trade. So the question is, on oil falling, you know, do a little quick analysis on this trade. Wow. Okay, so here's what this trade looks like right now. Okay, we are sitting right here in the trap. This is a $5,500 trap. The tail's 500 bucks. Okay, but if I stay in this trap and oil continues to drift lower, I got a chance at 5,500 bucks. If it comes back out of this trap, I'm down to 500. It's a pretty big swing. Okay, I've already booked 950 bucks on this thing, so I've doubled the tail. Question is, do you feel lucky? Do you want to take that off? Do you want to take the 200% gain? Or do you want to play for the really big bucks at 5,500? Well, oil looks like a piece of you know what. So I'm thinking, although oil is bouncing here, if it bounces out of my trap, it's not going to be fantastic. So what do you do on this thing? Let's just throw an order in to close it here because oil's got a big reversal candle hammer today. MACD, stochastic momentum are pointing up. Okay. I feel like I'm on like the Price is Right and the crowd is yelling things at me. So Stacy's taking it and run. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. But let's put the order in. Oh, tick down on me. Of course it would. Take the oil cash and dash. All right, we're gonna try to take this thing off. Um, even if 5 cents, I'm looking at something that doesn't make sense to me here. Yeah, so let's do this. Put it at, we'll try the 5 cents. Okay, so on this trade, we sold it for 5 cents, and now we're closing it for another credit of 5 cents. Okay, so we should make 10 cents on this times 10 contracts times 1,000. So we have 10,000 uh, as our multiplier times 10 cents. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do here. Let's see if we get that one, which would free us up to put something else on. And then this naked call here, this thing's just been so nice, just sitting there for me, uh, earning money. Is another $1,000. That thing also helped me put this ATM trade on. Otherwise, if you guys remember from 13 days ago when I put this on, most of you could not do that trade because the buying power was just way too big for you. Uh, but the reason mine's not is because I'm sitting on this little gem right here of a massive naked call, and that cut my buying power for that trade down. This trade works great as long as this thing stays alive. When this comes off, then this buying power is going to hit me pretty good. Okay, so when we take this trade off, we might take this naked call off. All right, so we got a strangle here that's working. Let's put on uh, reverse Jade Lizard. So why a reverse Jade Lizard? Well, because you're protecting yourself from the downside. So let's put a trade on. I like to do these trades around 60 DTE. So we're going to pick the 71 DTE. And what we like, essentially these, if I was doing a Jade Lizard, okay, I would probably, again, you start, uh, I start right around the expected move and I start just playing with it. I know that most of you guys don't like if I don't give you specific how to do's, but I want you to learn how to set these up. So I like to first sell like my 7% ish or my 7-ish delta. So let's do that. 7 delta on the short put. If I was doing a regular day Jade Lizard, okay, and then about 35-ish delta or less, okay, which could be up here. I don't want to. 35 delta would be this. So this would be taking my 7 to 10 delta short or naked puts and my 35-ish delta. So if you built this trade, okay, this is what a J Lizard would look like right now. Okay. Which is great. You have no risk to the upside. You're not going to make any money to the upside, but you can't lose if oil just rockets. If oil keeps dropping, we want this trap. This trap pays us $520 using $3,210 in margin. This is a 16% trade. But if you run up here, you're not going to make any money, but you're not going to lose anything. Okay? So you can't lose to the upside at all. You can lose if oil keeps, goes past $57 or so here. But that would be a normal Jade Lizard. However, I'm thinking, will oil keep falling more? Okay. Or does oil bounce from here? And oil's a, on the daily, I think oil's a bit over extended to the downside. The weekly could still have some more. I still think a strangle's better, but let's pop the reverse Jade Lizard. And then what I would also do is I would probably manipulate this trade around a bit anyway, uh, here to kind of figure out what's the best setup for this trade. And maybe if I moved, where did that go? Okay. So maybe if I move my naked puts up to like 59 and I move this up, now I'm more in the center of this thing. So if it just kind of stays neutral, and remember, we said oil has stayed between 62 and 78. I like to be outside of that. So I'm actually outside of that range here. on this Jade Lizard. So here's a standard Jade Lizard. The upside, not going to pay you much. It's not like a 112 where on a 112, we're playing for the tail most of the time. We want the tail up here to pay us. So if you're doing a 112 on this thing, this is essentially what a 112 would almost look like on this because we start off um, really close here, but we want the tail. We think something's going to keep drifting higher and rising, and if it doesn't, we still make money. All right, so let's reverse this thing now, and let's go with the reverse Jade Lizard, okay, which is essentially something very similar, okay, but I'm going to now sell, let's start at like a 90-ish, 7. Let's go to like a 10, 9. So I said anywhere from 7 to 10 delta. So if you're on the naked put, which in this case we're reversing it, is the naked call. Okay, so I'm going to sell. Let's use the 9, 8. Let's use the 8 delta. Lots of open interest there. Let's use the 88. And then we're going to go down here, okay, and we're going to place something around, well, we'll start at 35, but I'm not going to like it, okay, on the put credit spread. And now let's look at this trade. So here's the, hard to make it look halfway decent. Here's the reverse Jade Lizard. So if oil continues to drop past 68, okay, we can't lose on this trade. It's impossible to lose if oil craters. If oil stays where it is or moves higher, well, now we're going to make 520 bucks. Uh, it's, the buying power here is funky. Let's actually put this on in a different account so that you can get a better sense. Okay. So here's an account that doesn't have any oil trades on it at all. So if I did this with no other oil trades in the reverse Jade Lizard here, which is a reverse 112-ish, if you want, we're going to make 510 bucks in this trap using 32.28. We're going to make 16% in 71 days. Not too shabby. Okay. And so the question is, do you think oil runs to the upside, or do you think oil continues to drift lower? I'm kind of the drifting lower guy. Even though it's bouncing here, I'm still a strangle, to be honest with you. I still think oil is probably even more of a strangle. So let's go back here. So anyway, Squeak, I hope that gives you the um, Jade Lizard and how that works. I don't love it here because I don't know what the heck oil's doing. So let's go and put on another strangle, and we're going to go at 100 DTE, and we're going to go with my standard setup of like a 7 delta down and like a 6-ish delta up. We'll probably go 7 delta up uh, because I just like the strangle better on oil right now. Um, this just makes more sense to me here to give me some room. I think we're really in a good position. Oil can drift lower. Oil can bounce a little here. Either one of those. Remember, we said oil stayed between 60, 66 and 78. Well, we're way below 66 and we're way above 78. Okay. I don't, yeah, Brad, any, I'm not really worried about it. We're not getting oil from China. The trade war between Mexico and Canada is kind of simmering down a bit now. I'm not, can something happen? Sure. You saw what happened yesterday. So what happened yesterday was we slapped tariffs on Canada and uh, Mexico, and oil went from 72 to 74. Okay. So by slapping those on, we went up $2. Okay. Unless we start throwing tariffs on any other countries, okay, I'm not worried about it. So, um, so I'm okay. I'm pretty good here. There's some Iran sanctions. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I'm not buying the tariff on American oil today. After yesterday, they came out and said that they would comply with whatever. So it's all good. But if we go up a couple bucks, we go up a couple bucks, which is why I like the strangle here. I think it's a good trade. We're taking in 830 bucks using 2,900. Okay. It's a 28% return on it. If do you think we're going all the way to 90 even? No, I don't think so. And I don't think the trade war between Canada and the US is going anywhere. Okay. But I'm just playing the probabilities. If I lose, I lose. So what I want to do here is I'm going to go back to about my $3,300 strike like I did, and I'm going to put this thing on in the main trading account. Okay, we'll see if we get filled, but that's essentially where we are on that. All right, so there's a couple trades. I looked at oil and bonds. I looked at putting strangles on in both. Neither has filled. If one fills, depending on where my buying power is, I have a couple sells. That's fine. We got about 10 minutes. Let's look at a few other things that are going on out there. Let's start with the lazy trader account here. And I mean, everything is green today. No, IV doesn't bother me. And I'll tell you why. If you wait for a 30 IV, you'll never get a trade on and you'll starve to death. So I don't care about IV. I am not a tasty trade, tasty live, whatever. IV's got to be 50, 30, whatever. Sure, if IV is higher, I like it, but I got to make money. I can't wait for IV to be high, and I do not screen by IV. Okay. The only thing IV will do, IV is not going to necessarily kill your trade because your probabilities are still your probabilities. It's already factored in. So in fact, I like low IV because I don't want things to be jumping up and down. I think Igor has said that before in his trade as well. We're anomalies maybe when it comes to selling premium is that I don't really love high IV because that means things are going to fluctuate way up and down. I like calm. Okay. I like 15 VIX, although VIX sucks and is dead, but I like 15, 20 VIX, something in that range. I like kind of lowish IV. Now, if IV goes to like 100, like it did on, gold and oil, then yeah, I want to put something on, okay, to take advantage of that because it's extreme. But I don't worry about IV because I need to make money and I'm still have a 95% probability of profit whether IV goes up or down. Okay, so I'm not really worried about IV. If it's higher, great. IV really just speeds up how fast you get out of a trade, and it can also, if IV really spikes, it can knock you out of a trade potentially, but uh, I'm not. It would have to spike significantly. All right, so there you go. But the lower the IV, the less volatile the market, the more calm, and I love calm. All right, so let's just run through this thing really quickly. AMD. We are just sitting in a holding pattern because of earnings coming up on this puppy tomorrow. Oh, today. So AMD earnings are today. We could get beat up. We may not. This is a poor man's covered call trade on AMD. Here, give me a second and make sure that that's. And this is kind of a standard poor man's covered call. And let me just so I know when I'm talking to you guys. So the standard poor man's covered call means I am selling out of the money calls against this. This is not an at the money income play. This is the lazy trader account. I just look for capital appreciation. I want to get something at a discount. And then if I make a little money while I'm waiting, great. Okay. I think AMD is a good opportunity here. We'll see what earnings do tonight. But I like AMD. I like it at 80. I'm gonna keep selling some covered calls that are out of the money, 30 delta. If we get above, remember, my rule on poor man's covered calls a bit is if we're above the 21 delta, then or the 21 EMA, then I like to sell roughly a 15 to 20 delta out of the money covered call. If we're under the 21, then I'm going to do something closer to like 30, 40 delta um, for the covered calls. But I have none on here today because we got earnings. All right, so Google, we're just sitting on a naked put. We're up 74%. This is totally fine. Uh, I'm okay owning it and being in on Google here. So that thing is fine. All right. So IBIT, uh, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I love the fact that Bitcoin's dropping down here. I've been selling out of the money covered calls against this thing. It's a poor man's covered call, uh, down at 45. I'm fine with this thing. We're actually up pretty good if you check the, and I'm going to run out of time here in a few minutes. But if you follow along with what we're doing, we're actually up 10% in this trade. How did I come up with that? Okay. Here's the IBIT trade right now. Okay. So I track each of the covered calls and I'm also that I write against this thing. So I paid 31.90. That was the buying power for that. Right now it's actually down to 28.14. Holy cow. Um, is that right? Yes. Okay. All right. So this thing has dropped now. All right, so we paid 31.90. We're at 28.14, so this is actually down, and we've generated 112 bucks. Okay, so uh, on this, so now we're down 8%. So we were up, now we're down because IBIT has been falling pretty decently here on this trade. However, this trade that we're on right now is going to net us about 160 bucks. So that'll, put us pretty close to being only down 100 bucks on this. So the ROI is going to fluctuate a bit for a while. We're only in the first couple weeks. So there's where we are on that trade. I'm down a whole 264 bucks net on this trade, but we've got 120 bucks to add to the kitty pretty soon. So it's kind of like watching, I don't know, a show that the traders or whatever the heck shows out there where you're adding money to the pot that you win at the end. That's what we're doing. We're doing little challenges here like Survivor, and we're adding money to the pot at the end. All right, IWM here, this is just a naked put. It's up 41%, nothing to do there. Meta, it's just a naked put. This thing's great. I wish I owned it at 430, but we're fine. I don't mind making decent money on that. NVIDIA, so we do have a Jade Lizard on NVIDIA. This thing is actually down a couple bucks right now, but we're fine on it. NVIDIA is at 119. That's in the middle of this trap on this Jade Lizard. Sure, I got all the things correct. Yep. So we're right here on this Jade Lizard. We're right in the trap. I'm fine with things as they are. And if we get down to this 105, I very likely would take assignment. I would love to own NVIDIA at 105 bucks. I think NVIDIA is going to probably 125 in the next week or two. Do I collar my leaps around earnings? I really don't. I'm not a big collar guy, but the strategy is good. We can talk about it in the next video or so. So I think it's not a bad strategy necessarily, but I don't add a lot of adjustments. I'm a very simple trader. So I will rarely adjust. That's Igor's thing. He's really great at it. He loves to adjust and tweak his trades. I like to put them on, take them off, and make my life simple. So I do have this leap that I put on yesterday. This leap is now up 22%. So we bottom ticked the market. So Mr. Top Tick is Mr. Bottom Tick yesterday. We added this leap yesterday. You could not pass up that deal, in my opinion, on NVIDIA. And then we still have another handful of naked puts out here. They're just kind of meandering around. QQQ, I like the naked puts on it. I also put some 112s as just differentiators to just putting on the naked put. They're both doing great. This one here is actually up 105% now. It's possible to take this thing We're actually at 105%, and we're out of the trap um, on this thing. So I want to I want to keep the whole doggone profit. So we might consider closing this thing down if it closes. If not, I'll fuss with it later. I'll take that 105%. I was only looking for like 90. This thing's getting closer to 90 to 100. We'll take that off. SoFi is just another trade. This one we're down on decently because SoFi has dropped a bit, uh, but we're only down 10%, and the stock is down more than that. So we're going to make 500 bucks on this one. We're at 90% with 3 days left. So there's no sense, in my opinion, holding on to this thing. We'll see if we can get out at 2. If we can't, maybe we'll come back. We'll take it off at 3 cents. I'll let it percolate. You know what? Screw it. Let's just get boom. Sorry. So we're out on SoFi. Okay. And what I want to do is we just booked a bunch of money on SoFi. And we closed it for 3 cents um, today. I got it. Just make sure, and I have 15 of these on, so 1,500. This thing. So we just made 450 bucks on that trade, so that's fine. 450 bucks. We're down 1,500 on the long, which is fine. Let's go back and let's do another one. And let's look at next Friday, and let's do something. Now on SoFi, what's the rule? Above or below the 21-day moving average. We are below, so we can go a little tighter on this thing, like 30 delta. So I'm going to put in, oh, man. Let's do the 16 and 15 contracts of that. And we'll see if we get filled. If not, at that, 35 cents. Just for the audience today, we'll adjust. All right, so boom, we just put on another call here. We took in another 500 bucks on that. So we're fine so far on SoFi. SPY, we've got all kinds of stuff working. I would love to see some of these leaps come off because we moved them to the other account. Uh, we're close. We're positive on all of them, but we're not there. This Jade Lizard is doing fine. We're in the trap, which is nice. Nothing to do there. We've got 40% on a put credit spread, basically a leap put credit spread, which is out about 160 days. I'm going to have to run here in a minute, so I might just take this off. We'll see if we get filled. Nothing's filling anyway. The other put credit spreads aren't quite as good. Right now, TLT, we were fine, except we had 17 days on these 3 trades. These 2 are, a little bit more worrisome on it. I might roll or close. I might roll down. We'll see. I'm disappointed that TLT is not making a move. TMF, I'm not writing any calls against it yet. And then TNA, we've just got another leap put. So there's where we are. Things are pretty good. My profit targets on the naked puts my profit target on every naked put in this account is roughly 90%, 75 to 90%. Why? Because this is a long-term account, and I'm willing on most of these to own this thing. Okay, so I'm not trading it. I'm long-term, so I'm willing to. I'm selling them at places that I would be willing to own it at if that comes to that. Until then, no. So because I'm willing to either take assignment or roll because it's such a longer-term trade, uh, then I want the max juice I can get out of this thing. So I'm going to squeeze it for all I can. So I would like 90%. All right. I hope this helps. You guys got a chance to see what's going on here in the accounts today. We have not gotten filled on oil on anything. Oh my goodness sakes. Oh, this is the new strangle. So we're like a few cents off. We'll see. If something closes, if something doesn't close, then we'll play it by ear on what we need to do on these trades. So there we go. Good stuff. I got to run. You guys have a great afternoon, and we'll see you in the Discord shortly. So, all right, guys. See ya. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll let you go. Rock on.